Top 5 running backs of the 2026 NFL Draft. I think we all know who might be number 1, but let's talk about 2 through 5, as well as giving a dark horse candidate with our draft expert, Ryan McCrystal, coming up next. Welcome into Sharp Football Analysis. I'm Warren Sharp, joined by Ryan McCrystal, who is a name that you guys should know because he is one of the most accurate big board mock drafters in the NFL landscape. He's obviously great at his first round mock drafts as well, but he has the highest big board score in history as graded by the Huddle Report. He also has ranked 7th best in terms of his big board accuracy over the last 5 years. So we get the opportunity to dive into the top 5 running backs of the 2026 NFL draft class with him right now. Make sure that you guys are subscribed so that you never miss another episode. Let's get into it. I think we all know, Ryan, who the number 1 running back of this class is. Really separated himself. Jeremiyah Love out of the University of Notre Dame. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about what makes him so special and what do you think he's going to be able to accomplish at the NFL level?
Yeah, no question. Jeremiyah Love is the top running back in this draft class. He's going to come off the board in the top 10. He's going to be drafted so high because he just can do everything. He's sort of a Jahmyr Gibbs type of running back who's got a little bit of power to his game, but he also has the speed. That strength, speed, agility combination. There just aren't a ton of running backs in the league who can kind of check all those boxes. He's tough to bring down on first contact, but he's also got home run speed. He's a good receiver out of the backfield. He can pass protect. He just does everything. The only downside to his game, I think the only hesitation that I might have in, projecting him to be, a perennial all-pro type of candidate is he can hesitate in the backfield a little bit. That's really the one weakness is he'll dance in the backfield and he'll take some negative plays. You kind of live with it because he's got so many home run plays in college, at least, that it made up for it. If he's not hitting as many home run plays in the NFL, that could start to become more of a weakness and maybe hold him back a little bit. So I'd like to see him become a little bit more assertive as he's attacking the holes of the line of scrimmage to sort of eliminate those negative plays from the game. But if he can do that, there's really nothing that he can't do. I think from day one, he's going to be one of the top 10 running backs in the NFL.
Running back number 2, also from Notre Dame. In your opinion, Jadarian Price is the second best running back in this draft class. Tell us why.
Yeah, there's a pretty steep drop off here from number 1 to number 2. We're already talking about guys who probably aren't feature backs, 3-down backs at the next level. Though Jadarian Price, maybe he has a chance to be that guy. I think most likely he's an early down back. He's better at taking what's given to him at the line of scrimmage. He probably won't have a ton of negative plays. He's got speed in the open field. He actually returned kicks at Notre Dame, so he does have that home run speed, but he doesn't quite have that wiggle. He doesn't have the agility to make guys miss as easily near the line of scrimmage. So I kind of question whether he's going to be the type of guy who can create for himself, especially if he's not playing behind a great offensive line. I don't know that he's going to be a real productive running back. But, if you do have a great offensive line and you need a running back on day 2, he could be productive in the right system. If you're playing behind a line that's going to consistently give him some yards before contact and not force him to create for himself, I think he could still be productive. And like I said, he's got the home run speed, so he is going to turn in some big plays that's going to excite you. So I see him as, sort of like, if you had to use him as a feature back, you probably can, but I hope you've got a good offensive line. More than likely, though, he's going to be a complementary piece where you're going to plug him in occasionally, hope for some home run plays, a decent, trustworthy early down back for you, but probably never going to reach that Jeremiyah Love type of level where you're excited about having him as your 3-down guy.
Your third best running back in this class is Mike Washington Jr. out of Arkansas. What does he bring to the table?
Yeah, Washington's probably the only other guy in this class who maybe could reach the Jeremiyah Love elite level of production because the combination of size and athleticism is pretty crazy. You've probably seen his testing numbers at the combine by now. For a bigger running back, just not a lot of guys move the way Washington does. But that almost raises more questions for me because why didn't he dominate in college? He was a good running back at Arkansas. but he also played in a very favorable system in Bobby Petrino's offense at Arkansas, where, almost everybody who goes into that system puts up pretty good numbers. He's a great offensive coach. And Washington didn't put up the crazy numbers that you would expect given how he performed at the combine. I think he can be a good running back, sort of similar to Jadarian Price. He can be a good feature back behind a good offensive line, but I have doubts for his ability to produce at a high level if he's going to have to create for himself. He was stuffed in the backfield at a rate 18% above expected last year when accounting for the direction of the run and the number of defenders in the box. That was the 5th worst rate among power conference running backs. And when you think about look at his testing numbers and look at his size, how does that happen? He should be a guy who hits holes hard. He should be a guy who breaks tackles in the backfield and eliminates those negative plays. So that's a big red flag. If he can't eliminate that from his game, he's not going to play at a high level in the NFL. He's going to fade quickly. But you're going to want to draft him relatively early because there just aren't too many guys who move like him at that size. So the potential is there. Someone's going to take a chance on him on day 2.
Yeah, it sounds like an interesting evaluation. Let's talk about the 4th best running back in this class. And you're going to make our own Ray Summerlin very happy. You're going with Kaytron Allen out of Penn State here as the 4th best running back in this class. Talk to us about him.
Yeah, this is almost the opposite of the Mike Washington pick. I'm not swinging for the fences here with my number 4 running back in Kaytron Allen. I'm just going to take the guy he's going to be like a steady double. He's just going to go out there on the early downs for you. He's going to take what's given. He'll break some tackles. He's got enough speed to be dangerous when he hits an open hole, but he's not a dynamic weapon by any means. I don't think he's going to be a feature back. He's never going to be the 3-down back that you're going to use a lot in the passing game. He's just going to be a guy who goes out there on 1st and 2nd downs and just takes what's given to him. He's the perfect running back. If you're playing with a lead in the second half, suddenly then you can use him a lot. I think he's going to be the perfect running back for that because he doesn't take a lot of negative plays. He's got good vision near the line of scrimmage. He's going to consistently get you 3 or 4 yards. In the right situation, he's going to be really valuable. But, if you're playing from behind and you need home runs, you need passing game production, you're probably going to pull him off the field. So he's going to be a complementary piece, but I feel really comfortable projecting him to be serviceable in that role.
All right, rounding out the top 5 for you is Emmett Johnson out of Nebraska. Talk to us a little bit about what Emmett Johnson can provide at the next level.
Yeah, Emmett Johnson's traits don't really jump out at you, but he's just kind of like that smart, patient runner who takes what's there, and he's got enough athleticism to make you pay. He's also a pretty good receiver, a better receiver than Kaytron Allen, who we were just talking about. So that maybe sets a little bit higher ceiling for him, but he's also not as big as Kaytron Allen. So I would have a little bit more concern about plugging him into an offense where he's not running behind a great offensive line. He's going to be a little bit more dependent on the talent around him, but because he can do a little bit of everything, he could be someone that, if you're forced to start him, if you're forced to use him as a 3-down back, he could handle that role. He is capable of doing everything. I just don't know that he just doesn't have the traits to do it at the highest level, I don't think. So he's a guy that I would view as a very a valuable backup to have, because if you had to force him into the lineup, he could do it all, but I wouldn't want to build an offense around him. So he's going to be a 2nd or 3rd option in an offense, but he can do everything if you need him to. And there's still value in that.
All right, we just got the top 5 NFL running backs in the 2026 draft class from Ryan McCrystal, one of the most accurate prognosticators in the NFL draft landscape. But now I want to ask you, Ryan, give us the one dark horse running back who didn't make the top 5, who, if something breaks the right way, he could have a much higher ceiling than what's currently expected out of him. Is there a player that stands out in that regard?
Yeah, there's not a lot to pick from here, as you could probably tell by the way I was talking about some of the running backs who are even ranked in the top 5. There's just not a lot of guys who I think have the upside to be a feature back. So I'm going to pick a guy who I'm pretty confident is only going to be a role player if he gets on the field. That's Dean Connors from Houston. Played most of his career at Rice and then transferred to Houston. Houston had a surprisingly really strong season, and he was a big part of it. He's going to be the passing downs running back. He's a good weapon that you can really rely on. He's to be a receiver out of the backfield. He reminds me a little bit of James White, not necessarily who James White was in college at Wisconsin, because White was a prolific back in college, but who James White became at the Patriots, where he wasn't really even there to be a traditional running back most of the time. He was the passing downs guy. They grew to really trust him in that role, and I think Connors can potentially be that guy. He's got good hands. He's athletic enough to make some guys miss when he's in the open field. He's got the speed to hit home runs when he's got an open lane. I think if you bring him in and sort of groom him for that role, he could be really productive as a passing down running back. He's not a powerful running back. I don't want to use him on the early down, so I don't ever see him being a feature back. But if you need someone to fill that pass catcher role and pair him with a guy who can play on the early downs, I think Connors can be productive.
Outstanding analysis as usual. If you guys want to go even deeper on the NFL draft, don't miss our free newsletter. Go to sharp.football and sign up today. We send out information from Ryan and all of our NFL experts on the upcoming draft. You don't want to miss it. We'll see you on the next one.